Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. Apologies for the little delay, but we're
Yeah,
here.
my fault.
No worries, no worries. You're worth waiting for, Nima. You're worth waiting
Ooh.
for. We're here to preview the big Derby d'Italia, of course, Sunday, 7:45 UK time kickoff. And we've got, of course, as I said, Nima Tavalli-Rutsari with me with his hat-trick appearance on the channel. How are you doing, Nima?
I'm good, man. How are you? I'm
Yeah,
good. How are
not
you?
too bad. Not too bad. Enjoying, well, yeah. I actually have enjoyed this international break. I think we needed it as Inter fans, don't you think?
We needed a break. Inter needed
Yeah.
this international break more than anyone. They needed a break to just get away from everything. They needed to recharge and just to get a little break to find their feet and find where they are. And
And where are we, Nima? Where is this? Where is this Inter team? How do you
I
feel
don't
about
know.
this Inter team right now?
I don't know, man. I
I've never seen you like this.
look. It's because I don't like the momentum. I don't like where
Mm,
Inter are mentally. I don't like where Inter are in terms of where they are in their headspace. I don't like where Simone Inzaghi is in his. It's a little bit like when how do you say when you see. It's a little bit like with form. Coaches also have form,
yeah.
and Simone is a little bit out of form, just like Inter is. And I'm seeing, I wonder if sometimes I wonder if he when he's under pressure that he like gets stuck on the wrong things. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm seeing things from very reliable sources that he might play Matteo Darmian instead of Dumfries, and I'm thinking, why? What's the reason there? Because the blatant thing is that Dzeko and Lautaro haven't been working, so why continue
Mhm.
with that? You know, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions here. I don't think there's anything speaking for Inter right now, to be honest. I think everything speaks for Juve, and I expect Juve to win.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Let me give a quick shout out to everyone that's here. Of course, the regulars here: Nicola in the house, Eduardo, Sean, Niek. We got Denzel Dumfries in the house. You just mentioned him. He's
Yeah.
tuning in apparently. Balta in the house, Balkan Warrior. My boy Ahmed, what's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in and being patient with us. Matteo, Mattia. But yeah, Nima, you mentioned it, and I'm gonna bring it up straight away. The predicted lineup. Inzaghi, yeah, he's making some weird decisions, and the one that I am continuously, sorry, angry or confused about is this continuous Dzeko Lautaro, like every time Dzeko Lautaro, Dzeko Lautaro, like he's just shoving this down our throat, and once again, it looks like he's shoving it down our croaky throats once again. Dzeko Lautaro, what are you saying? And as you said, Darmian looks like he's the favorite ahead of
I
Denzel
don't know.
Dumfries.
It could be also mind games as well, but no, it's I'm looking at that lineup and I'm thinking, okay, Barella, Brozovic, Çalhanoğlu, okay, fair enough. Perisic for sure. You have to play D'Ambrosio because De Vrij is not fit enough,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I get that. I think that's
No
the right.
Ranocchia, no Ranocchia man marking
No, 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 no,
Vlahovic.
Joe, not against Vlahovic, for the love of humanity.
I mean, he
No,
struggled with Belotti a couple of weeks
yeah,
back.
no, 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 no. You don't do that. You play Skriniar there, and Skriniar is actually a pretty decent man marker. So I think or he's a very good man marker, I should say. No, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this lineup, and I think D'Ambrosio, he's to the right of that back three. Actually, I think he can do well, especially when he's got Skriniar, Bastoni, Brozovic, these other guys.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mighty Mo. No, but yeah, no, my only thing is Dzeko. Dzeko Lautaro. I wouldn't start Dzeko. I'd play Lautaro Correa because the team has more balance when Correa's on the pitch. Even if he doesn't do anything, it's the team is still more balanced
Yeah.
into both offensively and defensively. And you see that we've seen that this season. Every time Inter play this 3-5-1-1, they
Mhm.
look more balanced. I know it's not me thinking or wanting it. It's more the fact I'm answering your
No,
question.
it's true. It's true. I mean, if you could look back to, and this is not, of course, you make fun of me and people make fun of me for being a Correa fan.
Korea sexual is the term
Oh
we
yeah,
use.
whatever you want to
It's the
call it.
politically correct term we use nowadays. It's 2022. Let's use the politically
Oh,
correct term.
here he goes. Here he
Korea
goes.
sexual. There's
But
nothing
it's
wrong with
true.
being Korea
It's
sexual.
not a coincidence that Inter's best games happened when Correa was on the pitch. The Roma 3-0 Napoli game. That period where Inter were, closing the
No,
gap.
because the reason for that is because he occupies the space between midfield and attack, and it allows for Çalhanoğlu expresses himself much better then, because there's not that hole in the middle. When you have Lautaro and Dzeko, the problem is they both go after the same balls. There's literally no one up front in that number 9, and Dzeko does the regista offensivo term, which you love to use, which I absolutely hate, but he does do that. And the problem
but
is
it's annoying now. It's like, go in the box, bro. Like, you're 36. Like,
well, that's exactly it. Exactly, he's a big guy. No one's expecting him to be fast, but I do expect him to be able to win and hold up the ball. I expect him to be able to win headers. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. He's not a weak person. And he's not a small guy, and let Lautaro do that. And this is what annoys me, that when they don't. If he doesn't do this, it's and Darmian. Okay, that means he's worried about counterattacks from Juve down their left-hand side.
Sorry. So with Juve at the moment, I don't know which counterattacks he's worried about. The Sciglio, Rabiot, unless it's
Cuadrado. Yeah, I was going to say Morata. Or is Cuadrado going to play there or not? What's...
Well, Cuadrado will be on Perisic's side as usual, isn't he? Yeah, so it will be the usual Perisic.
Well, is Alessandro? Is this talk of him starting too?
Yeah, but I think he's an injury doubt, so I think he will be on the bench. But I don't know if he will start. Allegri loves the Sciglio anyway.
Yeah, but it could also be, just mind games that they're leaking stuff like this.
I don't know how much of a mind game is Darmian instead of Dumfries, to be honest.
No, but it is, because it kind of changes. To me, Darmian playing means you're going to play a lower block.
Yeah.
But if you're playing with Dumfries, that means you're going all guns blazing. To me, that because you need to do that, because the way Denzel Dumfries plays is he's a much more. You need to. The team have to be a little bit more balanced. Like the defensive line has to be a little bit higher up when Dumfries is playing. When Darmian is playing, you can play a little bit deeper. So if he's thinking of Darmian, then he's going to play a little bit deeper, which I think is the right thing. I think the dumbest thing you can do is to do what Inter did in the Supercoppa, which is to think, we're gonna dominate possession and we're gonna push you and press you and all that nonsense. You don't do that against Allegri.
He wants that. He
does want that. So here, give him the ball. Let him here's the ball. Do something with it.
Yeah. What about no Alexis for you? I know you're a big Alexis fan, but
I love Alexis. I don't think they're gonna play him from start. I just don't see. Given that I think they're coming really late from Italy, from South America as well.
Him, Vidal, and Correa as well. As you mentioned, Correa actually played like 65 minutes against Venezuela, so that's a good sign.
Well, that's also one of those things. I understand why he wants to start. He's thinking, okay, I've had Dzeko and Lautaro, I've been able to train with them, and blah 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 blah. That makes sense to me, but I still think the problems is, if you can get Dzeko to listen and stay inside the box and let him link up that way, then play Lautaro and Dzeko.
Yeah,
but not otherwise.
Yeah, I guess you're right. In terms of Lautaro, he's actually stayed because he had COVID, so he's managed to stay and train properly, and he's not going to be drained after the long travels that they have to do from South America. Eduardo said that Dumfries played on Tuesday as well, so he's thinking about Dumfries maybe a little bit burnt out from his Holland duties. Maybe that's the thinking as well, because I felt like Dumfries felt a little bit. He felt like a little bit drained already, like in the last few games. Dumfries.
Fair enough, but at the same time, Dumfries didn't. If I'm not mistaken, that was a friendly. It was hardly in high intensity.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's they were just basically doing a run around pretty much.
Yeah. And what do you think this game, like Niet asks, like what do you, and I want to ask this as well, like to me, like I still have a little bit of faith left, Nima, like 10% faith. If Inter win this game, to me this changes everything. I still have to become a believer again.
Absolutely. If Inter beat Juve, then they're back in the Scudetto race. There's no doubt about that. Because
there's no way Napoli and Milan go on a flawless run until the end.
No. That puts pressure on Milan. Inter beating Juve sends a clear, strong message, and that puts pressure on both those teams. I think Napoli are going to drop points against Atalanta anyway.
Yeah, without Osimhen, without
So
Rahmani, I think
without
that's
Di
really important.
Lorenzo, Di
Yeah, Di
Lorenzo
Lorenzo.
above all.
Yeah,
Di Lorenzo above all, who I think has been probably their most consistent player this
yeah,
season. So
yeah.
no,
He's been good.
yeah,
So yeah, no,
absolutely.
I absolutely think this could be a game changer, but it's hard to have actually any faith in this Inter team, to be honest. And our record away at the Allianz Arena or Juventus J Stadium, wherever it's called, is pretty woeful at best. I mean, last time we won was under Stramaccioni in 2012 when we had Gargano and Cambiasso and Milito, Cassano and Palacio up front with a gutsy 3-4-3 that Stramaccioni played. I mean that was
It's 3-4-2-1 with Guarin and I don't know what.
yeah. It was a very surprise win back then, but ever since, even Conte. I mean, there's a lot of Conte widows of Conte that come into the comment section and one like, oh, Conte wouldn't do this, Conte wouldn't that. I don't want to hear anything about after this match because Conte got slapped up by Sarri's Juve at the Allianz. He got slapped up by even Pirlo's Juve at the Allianz. So I don't want to hear about Conte after this one.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. I mean, it's this notion of Conte. Simone's got a decent record against Juve, and he's not got a very good record against Allegri. But I think this is no. I'm
Wait.
really.
Speaking of Allegri, so Allegri's in here. We had Dumfries in there. Now we got Massimiliano Allegri in here. Hey,
Ciao, Max.
Porto Muso.
Yeah, cortomuso, musetto davanti. But no, listen, I'm really worried because I think that Juve will be trying to steal this, and they have Vlahovic, and I just hope that Inzaghi doesn't fall for the trap. What I want to see from Inter or Inzaghi's team is to play the way they did when to use the game plan. Similarly, game plan to how when Inter beat Juve, when Lazio beat Juve, he beat Sarri's Juve. They were perfect that game, Lazio. I really urge people to go and watch that game again. They were absolutely fantastic. Obviously, he's got different players, but I would use that kind of similar game plan because they were defensively so perfect. They knew exactly when to attack, when to hold, and he's had time now, so you can't say he hasn't had time to prepare. So I hope that they, whatever they do, the game plan is one that is clear, coherent, and not more of the same nonsense where they just oh no, we've just been unlucky, if that makes sense. So we haven't been unlucky.
We can only go to that like for so many times. You can only say that so many times because it's true to a certain extent, but then when it becomes on such a long stretch, it means that you're just not good enough. You just can't finish. That's what I mean. You can pull up, and I know you hate it as well, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I do like to look at it here and there, like the XG table where it shows that Inter should be far and away winning the league, and Milan are
Well,
fifth in the league.
I like. It's not my problem with XG. Is not it's not that it exists. It's the way that it's what people read into it.
Yeah,
I actually think that table is it's a very good table because it kind of proves my point that Inter
bring it up.
Yeah, they don't. It really proves my point that Inter are lacking a natural goal scorer, and if they had replaced Lukaku properly and not bought Correa, they would have been 10 points clear by now. Because a natural goal scorer scores 10, 15 goals more, and Inter would have. That means at least 8 to 10 points, right?
Yeah.
So it's
but I mean, I'm going to bring up the table, the comparison to Conte's Inter, and where my prediction was that we're going to be 10 to 12 points behind Conte's Inter, and that's what we're currently tracking. But yeah, here's the XG table we're talking about. So X points, apparently, according to the various algorithms and things that calculations Opta uses, Inter should be on 68 points right now, first in the league with the 66 XG, and Milan, look at them, fifth in the table with a with 57 points. So they should be like 11 points behind Inter according to the XG table.
No, I think that's I think that's fair. I think the Roma thing is insane as well.
Oh yeah, Roma as well.
because
For sure.
because they've been really attacking, but they've missed so many chances.
Yeah.
Roma have. So
But
no, it's
even then, like look at the difference between Inter's XG and the second closest is Roma on 58 or 50 or
yeah,
let's say
it's
59.
crazy.
That's
If you
crazy.
look at the fact that Inter have, I think how many goals have Inter scored? 60. How many is it? 6.
62, I believe, till now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but that's exactly it. Those 5-7 goals. The difference is the difference between 60
Yeah,
and 68
62.
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 6 goals, that's what I mean by a natural goal scorer. And that's exactly why I was so frustrated in the summer. I thought, but then again, you can't blame Beppe Marotta either because what is he going to do?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
He can't.
I thought that I really thought that Dzeko wasn't going to be the only guy. I thought they're going to bring in like because they were talking about Duvan Zapata, they were talking about Belotti. Like I didn't think they were going to bring someone like Correa in, although we were linked with Turan, but I thought they were clearly just going for like another number 9. But
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, if you look at, I understand why Marotta went to Inzaghi and said, "We'll get you your guy," because
yeah,
they took away Lukaku, Ericsson. What happened to him? And then Hakimi left. So
100%.
you're thinking, okay, well, he was kind of building to play with Lukaku, and it didn't work. He left. So you got to give the guy what he wants, at least something that he wants.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean in terms of Correa. Like I know you joke. I like Correa. Like if we bought Jeremy Boga tomorrow, like I'm gonna love Jeremy Boga in my team. But does he fit into the team?
Nah.
Probably not. That's what I mean. So with Correa, it's more like, okay, we got this guy. I like this guy, but I don't think he was first of all worth 30 million.
Well,
And
now we know how much it was. It was Lazio are a publicly traded
yeah,
company, so it's
28.5.
28.5 million, which is about 28.5 million more than I would have liked to have spent on Joaquin Correa.
All right, calm down now, calm down. All right. I
No,
think
but
he's a
seriously,
15 to 20 million player. I think that's like that would have been the correct. That's the like I would rate him around 27 years old. That's the price I would pay for a Correa.
thing is though that I understand. He looks good. He's very technical. Like
Mhm.
if we're talking individually, he's a very technical player. And yeah, that's a good point by Nick. No, but seriously, it's a technical. He's a very technical player. He's an individually very skillful player. His
Yeah.
dribbling skills, he's very difficult to get the ball off of, and all that stuff. But the problem is that he's, no other comparisons otherwise. But it's a little bit Zarate syndrome, isn't it? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
you're not concrete. Of course, Correa is a much better player than Zarate ever was. Zarate didn't have a brain. He, as Ranieri famously said, I have to operate a pacemaker into his brain so I can get him to do what I want him to do when he was at Inter. So
Yeah.
I completely get that. But no, look, I think I think I would start Correa but then again, if he's not fit enough to play 90 minutes, why start him? I don't know. It depends on what Simone wants to do, but I'm not confident going into this game because I feel that the sorpasso that you've been waiting all this season. I mean, mentally it would be so difficult for Inter to, even though they have that game in hand, for you to overtake Inter at this point, the business end of the season. That would be such a mentally important thing, and I'm really worried that they might.
Bro, that would just be such a killer. Like after the
Mm,
season they had, and now how
yeah.
much criticism Allegri's faced quite rightly, and then he ends up being on top of Inter. Um, it's gonna be a killer, man. It's gonna be
Well,
really
that's
hard to win.
exactly it, and that's why I'm afraid that Simone is like that. It'll be, if they don't win, it'll be 2 in 10 games. Two
Yeah,
of the last 10. That's a third. That's almost a third of the season, and that's a lot.
yeah, and then
Um,
pull it up there in terms of form table, the second left table there. We're literally, almost relegation level form at the
yeah,
moment. The same amount of points as Genoa. For God's sake.
that's insane. And that's something that I don't know. It's one that really bothers me. It really bothers
Yeah,
me.
it really.
And that's the one I'm worried about. But I mean, as Matteo says, there's my 7-0 to win the league. It was getting you 83 points. Yeah, I guess 83 points would do it, but I don't think Inter can go 7
Yeah,
straight. Like,
I don't have faith in this team to do that. That's pretty much flawless end to the season.
yeah. I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but a draw is kind of okay. Nothing changed. I think Atalanta will be happy there because they get to eat up a few points. They got a game in hand as well, so we'll see. We'll see. But it's I'm not confident going into this game at all.
yeah. And I mean, when you look at the kind of the table where, Inter's still the best, I don't know still how Inter are still the best attack, but still the best attack in the league, second best defense in the league. And the funny thing is, I mean, look at Juve's attack is like mid-table, 47 goals is like been outscored by Fiorentina, Roma.
I'm Max Allegri is like he's such a terrorist. I love it. 47 goals.
He's your idol, man.
I love it. I love how he triggers people in this day and age where everyone thinks that football is this fucking Harlem Globetrotter pass ball wanking. And, oh, win 9-0 every game. He just comes there with his corto muso, with his exactly musetto
Intenditore
davanti.
d'ippica.
It's so good. Oh, I love the man. He's like and he just looks like this evil professor.
Oh,
from
the
Bond movie
GQ
as well.
shoe was so good. He's just there, like, so
Oh, it's so
careless,
good.
carefree, like, yeah.
No, and he's got this like little whiny voice as well, and he's just I don't know, I just his pragmatism, and he's a really good coach. He really is individually and
Yeah,
tactically.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he was my number one choice after Conte left.
Oh yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
and I know
Me
he was
too.
for you for sure.
No, I know he was. I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy.
Yeah, how do you think this Inter team would have done under Allegri
We
this
would have won the
season?
league by now. Would have
You
won the
reckon?
league by now. Would have won the. We wouldn't have been. Maybe we would have probably been at the top for the least amount of goals conceded.
I don't know if
But
this team can do that, like be pragmatic and counterattack. We don't have those weapons. Like, who are we going to
we did.
counterattack with Dzeko?
We were. Yeah, but I don't think they would have signed Dzeko. You
All
see,
right, so you're saying that if we got
yeah,
Allegri, then it would have been a completely different
yeah.
mercato.
I think it would have different mercato. I think Dumfries would have been brought in. But it wouldn't really have mattered. He would have beaten the Dutch football out of him. And if he hadn't played, he would play Darmian. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing, though. Allegri prepares his team so good into
Yeah.
every game's like a cup final. Every player knows what they have to do. I think I don't think someone like Stefano Sensi would probably have been sold in the summer already, but and he would have probably brought in Zakaria or someone like you know what I mean? Like they would have been a much more Allegri midfield.
And
But,
I really, Nima, I really don't understand where these rumors are coming from, and like why I don't even want to really entertain it. But the Zerbi at Inter, like that's just a like guys now.
Can we please stop that? Can we please stop that? Like, can we please just stop? That would be if they did that, they would be. I mean, these rumors, I don't buy them for 1 second. And this notion that I don't think Inter are parting ways with Simone Inzaghi. They gave him before the season started.
Yeah.
Clear objectives. He's en route to hitting every single one. They got to the group stage. They got past the group stage of the Champions League. He won the Supercoppa. He can still win the Coppa Italia. There's still a chance. I mean, let's be honest. They're 6 points behind Milan, but with a game in hand, that's potentially 3 points behind. That's not an impossible situation. It's just they need to get this negativity out of their system, and a win against Juve would blow all that away. I mean, that's Inter back again. Napoli play Atalanta, with a game in hand. If let's just play with the idea. Inter beat Juve, they're on 63 points. If Atalanta win their game and then they got a game in hand, they're suddenly back in the race for the top four. So, it's things change dramatically if Inter win. But I'm thinking some sort of bore 0-0 draw here. I'm thinking Simone is looking to build from do what he did after the Lazio defeat and kind of build them up again slowly.
Yeah, and I think because I think Allegri will go for a draw and he'll obtain the draw. So I think I think it will be a draw. But going back to that table that pulled up, Anima, one thing I wanted to ask you is like, have you ever seen like if Milan potentially win the Scudetto, a team that if things stay as they are, they've got the fourth best defense in the league and the third best attack in the league? Like, has that ever happened? Is that a team ever won the league like being this kind of not dominating any?
But it'll be the Scudetto of mediocrity, won't it?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because the others just weren't good enough.
Yeah, they were the least worst, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they sucked the least out of everyone else. I mean, Inter gave away their advantage by getting rid of Lukaku. Okay, Ericsson, fair enough, that wasn't their fault, and what happened.
Yeah.
But Lukaku, it's the goal scorer for me. Even Dumfries replacing Hakimi is okay.
Yeah.
They were,
Yeah.
that's not a huge weakening. I think Çalhanoğlu has shown that he can do some certain things in the right position. The problem is the goal scorer. It's exactly that. When they were playing well, when they were creating chances, the first Milan derby, both Milan derbies, games against Atalanta, that's Inter got, what is that? They got 3 points out of 12 from those games. Add another 9 to that, and that's 69 points right there.
Yeah.
So that's because they can't score, because they don't have that natural goal scorer, and that's where this Scudetto is lost. If not, and I can't blame Simone Inzaghi for that. I know a lot of people want to do that, but it's not his fault. He wanted Joaquin Correa, fair enough. He's not the first or the last coach to have wanted players that have not worked out. Let's remember that when Jose Mourinho's first season, he insisted on Quaresma, Montari, and Mancini, and they were all 3 duds, and they had to the following year sell Ibrahimovic, and then they bought all the players, and he didn't insist on players. He said the kinds of players he wanted, and the club will do that. And I think that's what we're going to see this summer. But having said that,
no more coach power in the summer.
Yeah, no more. Yeah, no, well, that's a good thing. I mean, they'll talk about profiles instead. What kind of players do we want? What type of players, not specific names. And that is something that's really important for me. The summer, Bremer is the most important signing, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
clearly Inter have made it a priority.
No, they have to. It's because Beppe Marotta is a smart person. He knows what he's doing. For me, Scamacca, I mean, I have no problems selling Lautaro and De Vrij and replacing with Dybala, Scamacca, and Bremer. None whatsoever. And it's, to me, that's building for the future. Dzeko another year as a mentor for Scamacca works for me. My only thing is with Dybala is then you have to keep Alexis Sanchez, because Dybala, we don't know. It's a big unknown, his physical status. So that's a big question mark. His quality is not up for debate. Everybody knows how good he is, but it's whether or not he can keep fit over a season. And if they do they keep talking about 2 players, that they want to sign 2 players. And okay, well, if you're bringing in Dybala and you're letting go of Alexis Sanchez, so there's talk of, Mertens or Cavani or someone like that, and that's okay, or Luis Suarez. Okay, fair enough, but you're hardly, I don't see the point in getting rid of Alexis Sanchez, who has high wages, and bringing in Luis Suarez, who's going to earn virtually the same. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and it's just you're going through that same cycle again of a guy who's always been one of the top strikers in the world, but he's on a decline now, and he's gonna
and he costs money. I mean, I don't think the wages would be that different between someone like Suarez or Cavani and Alexis Sanchez. You might as well just keep Alexis Sanchez. You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to me.
Oh, we got Brad, the lad coming in from England, predicting a 2-0 win for Inter. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brad. We hope you're right.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting storyline, the Dybala thing. Seeing, this, obviously it looks like he might not be starting in this match, because Allegri at the moment is preferring this 4-3-3 with Morata being this kind of in this Mandzukic role. Yeah. But he's gonna make an impact for sure. He usually plays pretty well against Inter, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and I think this role is good for Morata as well. He's a hardworking player.
Yeah,
people make a lot of fun of him, but I actually have a lot of respect for him. I think
I think he'd be great at Inter in this. Striker.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they can, I wouldn't mind having him as a seconda punta for no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, but anything else? Oh yeah, the one thing, of course, I needed to ask you about. Who's going to be the guy up Brozovic's ass? It's been Kulusevski in the last few matches.
Yeah, That's really interesting. I think Zacharias, if he's fit, but
Mhm.
he's not been fit. Or Rabiot could be as well, but Rabiot's not intelligent enough to be able to do that. Like, with all due respect. So is it going to be Locatelli? Well, that's a waste of Locatelli, and I don't think Locatelli is that kind of a player either. Kulusevski can run. No, I mean to man mark Brozovic, you have to have someone with lungs of steel. And Kulusevski and Brozovic, when it comes to running for 90 minutes non-stop, they're virtually the same. There's not much between them. I remember
When in the last match in the Super Cup, I think they played more of a 4-4-2, and then it was Morata doing
yeah.
it. So it depends if he,
It could be
if,
Morata. It could be
yeah,
Morata, but then he won't play a 4-3-3. And
yeah,
then I wonder how. Then yeah, that I think it won't be. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It could be without possession. They play a 4-4-2 with Cuadrado as a right winger, and then Rabiot as a left midfielder, and Vlahovic up front with Morata covering that space. That could absolutely be it.
yeah. And I mean, Brozovic as well, he's probably going to be, I don't think he's going to be in full form because he's just come back to full training. I think today he took part in his first full training session. So I'm not expecting him to have a lights out game, but how important is Brozovic, bro, like to this team?
No, he's the most important. In a way, Inter just look poor. They look devoid of ideas. They look devoid of any constructive play. I think he's the most important player in Inzaghi's system. But no, I mean, it's everyone who sees the game has seen Inter play with Brozovic, knows it's a completely different side. Everything goes through him, and that's a weakness. I think that's something that I liked about Antonio Conte's Inter, especially the last 6 months, was how Barella, Eriksson, and Brozovic all kind of shared that playmaker role. Yeah, that made Inter so difficult to play against because they could hurt you in so many different ways. And obviously with Hakimi and Lukaku and Lautaro, and Perisic and all that. So no, I think that's something they need to address in the summer.
No, for sure. But then also like Inzaghi, he's always forcing this 3-5. Like if Brozovic is there and you haven't got the guys to come in for him, you don't have to play. You don't have to play with a regista. Like you don't have to force it, right? Like what do you think of that? Like I feel like, especially against Torino, you could just match up against Torino with their 3-4-2-1.
The Torino game was just Inzaghi lost his mind. I mean,
Yeah,
Vecino
like why
playing.
would you play Vecino
No,
as a regista?
Vecino as a regista was just one of the most bizarre decisions I have ever seen a coach do. I've never seen. I don't understand why he did that. Again, to me, that suggests he was a little bit panicking. But yeah, no, I think Zakaria will start. I think it's going to be that system. They're going to play a 4-4-2, like you to reply to the comment there.
Yeah, Rabiot's mom is a very interesting woman.
Veronique. Yeah, she's crazy. She's an interesting lady. But no, I think it's the Torino game for me. Vecino, it just I don't understand what he was thinking. Not even on paper is that a good idea. It just makes no sense. But and the fact that he missed it, he took him such a long time to realize that. I mean, to me, that just suggests he was panicking, and that's never a good sign of a coach. And I think that being a coach of Inter he has to show that he's mentally good enough. I think tactically in the football he plays, I've never had any doubts. But Inter is a special place. And I thought that after having been prepared for Rome, which is a very special place, I thought he'd be able to handle it better, but it's been really difficult for him. And I think now he needs to step up. I really want him to step up and show that he's ready. Even if Inter don't win the Scudetto, I want to see him be in charge again, not panic, not have that deer in headlights look that he's had for the last month and a half.
Yeah, I agree. And then try some variations, try something a little bit different, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again,
but what you need to do differently is not play Dzeko and Lautaro together.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's my favorite version.
That's the only thing. Yeah, stop doing that. Stop doing that.
My eyes are gonna.
Yeah, exactly. Stop doing that, you silly person.
I can count on one hand the amount of times those two have managed to actually
It just doesn't work. It doesn't work, and he needs to understand that. He needs to get Dzeko to understand that the regista offensivo that he does, not with Lautaro.
Yeah. Yeah, but going to Mattia's question, I mean, we're not sure that he's
Yeah,
going to be ready for the match, but I think they're going to
yeah.
try their best
No,
to.
no, no. He's ready. He's ready. He's not maybe not 90 minutes, but he's definitely going
Yeah,
to start. There's no doubt in my mind. I think he'll be given some 70, 75, 80 minutes.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, if
I hope you're
Alexandro,
right. I hope.
yeah.
I hope they do one of these silly. I hope Ligt like grabs the ball with both hands in the penalty
Oh
area.
yeah, his volleyball
Yeah.
inside the volleyball player that's inside of him just jumps out.
What is it with him? Like, what
I
is
don't
that?
know.
Always
I
with
really like him as well. Like
me
it's
too.
funny.
He's such a good defender, but it's like, what is it with him and handballs? Like, stop it. So there
Nia
will be one
asks
on Monday.
when.
Niak, it will be one on Monday. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. And then one thing I wanted to pull up at the beginning, actually, and I forgot to pull it up, was that comparison to the points comparison between Inzaghi's, path at the moment compared to Conte's. And I would say, you compare it to last season as well, but I think the Conte's first season is probably, a good comparison point as well.
Yeah,
And you can see he's even underperforming Conte's first season.
yeah.
And as I said, I was expecting a 10 to 12 point drop off. And at the moment, we're on trend with that. What do you make of that?
I think that's pretty much where we. I think 80. I think I can't remember who it was who said 83 points. Yeah, that
Matteo.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
82. I think 82, 83 will win the Scudetto for sure. But yeah. I mean, last season was it 95?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes it 12, 13. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, if they make it, if 10, 12 points is okay.
Yeah.
But the thing that burns so much is the fact that they had a January mercato where they could address this, and they didn't do it. Instead, they
Yeah.
weakened the team, getting rid of Sensi, which I think was just insane. Because
No,
again,
I agree. And now that since he's actually been fit, I have to admit that's now like I have to look back on that because I just had zero faith in him actually staying fit. But actually, he had one injury and then he had one gastroenteritis or whatever he had, and he's actually been fit for most of the time.
yeah,
So
which was to me was completely obvious they was going to be fit because he was given 3 months to work himself back and build himself back, and he scored a goal against Empoli, and to me it was like, why are you doing this in the business end of the season? You're just depleting your midfield because the options are
Mhm.
Gagliardini, Vicino, and Vidal. The game against
Well,
Torino,
at the
Sensi
same
would have
time,
played.
though, it's like you've seen how flat everyone has been as well in the team. Like every single player has just been like completely off form, and I don't really see Sensi being that guy that drags us out of this rut. Really,
No, but I think he would have done a little bit better than what's his name?
don't go there.
Yeah. No, but I think he would have done a little bit better than Vecino and Joaquin Correa, who's been injured for like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
this
no,
is
no.
what I'm
And
saying.
then
Like the games against
Caicedo,
Liverpool.
man, this guy is looking like I don't. They drag my uncle from India, and like he's got this like pot belly, this bear belly on him. Like, where this guy from? Like, this guy looks like he hasn't played football for years.
Yeah.
Like, and this another
It's
Inzaghi's guy.
I mean, when even your BFF can't play you, when your BFF is a coach and he signs you and he can't play you because you're in such shit form, then then something has got to give. No, I think Caicedo was just to make up the numbers, but the fact that he's been such dreadful form is just wow.
Yeah. No, he just looks completely like he doesn't look like a footballer at the moment or an athlete at any point. Like he just comes on, he looks like he's got slippers on. Like this guy, I
He
don't
looks like
understand.
me. He looks like the physical condition I'm in, and
Yeah,
I'm like 41 this summer. It's not no, but
bro, I think
it's
you do a bad job.
yeah, no, but seriously, it's getting a bit. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'd even like Alexis, Lautaro, whatever. Just not Dzeko and Lautaro, Correa, Dzeko, whatever. But you have to play Lautaro because I mean he's been
Yeah.
fully rested. So yeah,
And
we'll see.
and what about like he always and the subs, like what do you think? Because I people are really criticize the thing that he always takes Lautaro out for Dzeko. But I remember like Conte always used to do
Conte
that
did
as
that
well.
all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, has Lautaro the number of games he played 90 minutes? Like it was always 76 minutes. It was both wing backs. We know that.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes before or after was Lautaro. It was always like that. He never played more than 75, 78, 82 minutes. Like,
Yeah. Well,
yes,
Mattia,
Mattia, we do.
that's
Yes,
like you shouldn't
Mattia.
even ask that
This
question.
is what I want to say. If Inter want to win that game, they have to score twice. It's as simple as that. Like one Inter don't go to Juve Stadium and win 1-0. They're gonna invent the penalty. They always do. So
Yeah, no, sorry, Nicola. That Anfield win is gave us. That was a while ago now, and it's going to give us zero
Yeah.
momentum now. That momentum is gone from that win.
If it was going to be momentum, it would have been momentum against Torino and I don't know what.
Fiorentina. Yeah,
Yeah, I like this idea. I'm glad that that person. That's something I want to see. Perisic in a free role, in that link up role. Although I like Perisic on the wing, but I do like this idea of Perisic operating a bit more loosely and freely from the left, and having Gosens as a wing back, because that's something I want to see. I want to see Robin Gosens play now.
yeah.
I think he should be fit now to play.
Yeah, I mean he has to be like he stayed. He had 45 minutes against Torino, was it? And then he's had half an hour, 20 minutes here, and he stayed these 2 weeks. And I'm sure they've amped up his training regime as well. So he must be ready to provide something. And yeah, that's the only way you're gonna get those two in, because you want to get your best players on the pitch, don't you? And that's the only way you're gonna get both Perisic and Gosens in at the same time. Although I'm
Yeah,
not under Conte, I wasn't a big fan of Perisic up front, but the form that he's been in this season, I could see it working out a little bit better.
yeah, but if it depends on how you play him. I mean, I don't know if you play him a little bit more centrally, but still operating from the left, and then you have
Yeah,
Robin Gosens, who's like who just marauds like Dumfries
Mhm.
does. I'm all for that.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what I mean by Inzaghi. Like he needs to get some of those ideas and put them in
Yeah, he
practice.
needs to. The thing is, if there's anything we should learn from the world of football, it's don't be chicken shit.
Yeah,
Like we, if there's anything Mancini learned, he went with a safe and he got
yeah,
screwed. Right?
yeah,
Don't do that. I'm not saying go full gung ho and rotate and bring Primavera players on, but I do think that given that you've got these players that you've got and they're all experienced Serie A players, now would be a good time to do a little bit of experimenting.
yeah.
And Darmian ain't it. That's not what I'm thinking. I like Darmian. Don't get me wrong, but
That's going for the safe.
yeah, exactly. That's literally the opposite of what I'm saying. So I'd like to see him play Perisic as a link up player, maybe,
Yeah.
but I do want to see Gosens soon. I think it's becoming one of those situations. That, okay, you bought him, now he needs to start playing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's the last time he actually came on the channel as well when we signed Gosens that day.
All
You
right,
remember?
yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. You're right. I remember
yeah,
that.
been 3 months, and yeah, we haven't really, obviously because of the injury, but we haven't really got to see Gosens.
No, but we knew that it was going to be a signing for next season. But now it's
Yeah,
been 3 months and he's been fit.
yeah.
So now, and he hasn't gone to Germany. So he's been with.
Future Hendricks, you,
Well, then I guess you're going off the bye
bye.
because he is gonna start those too. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
But I just hope that he
99%.
changes something sooner
Yeah, not
rather
the
than later.
75th minute. That's too
No,
late.
no,
Because
no.
then you're asking, then people start moaning like, "Oh, Sanchez didn't do anything, or Correa didn't do anything." You gave him 10 minutes. Like, what do you want him to do?
Yeah, it's not. 10 minutes is not much.
Yeah. And then like just to finish off, I took a couple of screenshots from the last match we played them against, and I think, I saw this weakness in Juventus when they played Villarreal, and then I saw this, when I rewatched the game yesterday as well. And set pieces, they're not that great. Like they give you some chances on set pieces. These guys, De Vrij had a great chance against them in the Super Cup, which just went wide, and then Sanchez here was like completely left. I mean, of course, he went score the winner in the end, but we um we forgot that this guy actually missed a complete easy chance here where he put this one wide and he was completely free. So that's one area that I hope Hakan, he hasn't been his foot hasn't been as warm as it was at the beginning of the season, but I hope his right foot is nice and warm and ready to whip some nice balls in, because I think this could be a big weakness, or somewhere Inter can actually exploit.
Yeah, no. Look, Chalanoglu. I mean, when his set pieces are, they're second to none.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, we've seen it. I mean, even before against Torino as well, we saw it where he was back to the set pieces were awesome again. But no, look, I still think that the key to unlocking Chalanoglu is to play Correa, unless you decide that you want to play Çalhanoğlu is the number 10 role behind Lautaro, and you play Vidal, Barella, and Brozovic. That's also an option, which shouldn't be discarded.
Mhm.
Again, you have options, but
Yeah,
no.
one thing I don't like what he does is by the end of the match he leaves on Correa and Sanchez up front. Like that's just
Don't
impotent.
do
Like
that.
that's
Don't
just
do
like you
that.
playing with like
Do
5
not.
condoms on. Like what's the point? What is the point in that? So if you're gonna
Yeah,
keep
no.
Dzeko on or keep
No,
Lautaro on,
keep
it's
one of them on. Yeah,
you
don't
can't
do
you
that.
can't have the
Yeah.
end of the match and you're chasing a goal with Sanchez and Correa on. Like I
No,
know it
no,
worked
no.
in the Super Cup, but you know.
Yeah, no, not that, not that. I don't want to see that. No, I agree with you. If you bring on Correa, you keep Lautaro. If you bring on Sanchez, you can take off Lautaro. Like, you know what I mean? Like it makes sense to
Like
whatever you
one,
do.
at
But
least one of Lautaro and
one of
Dzeko needs to
them,
be.
yeah, one of them needs to be on. I think that's a good point. That's a good point because he, with like you said, it just then you have no one in the box. You have
Mhm.
two players around the box and no one in the box and no one across to. It's strange.
Yeah, it is very strange. And then there's a couple of questions that people are asking. Of course, I think now it's become a big topic around, the youth and giving more a chance to the youth. Like, what do you feel like? The artist Javier asked the same thing. What do you make of Inter going forward? Like, is this a problem for Inter as well? Like the youth, giving youth more of a chance?
Here's the thing: youth players need to play. At Inter, they won't be given a guaranteed time. So and the reason I say that is because it's a very simple thing to say. Oh, give Agume a chance, but it's not just give Agume a chance. Agume has to deliver at Inter.
Like
Inter,
do you remember the game where Conte put him on against Fiorentina and then we
yeah,
conceded and then everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's not ready. This guy's not ready." It's like
because
this
he's
is
not ready. He
yeah.
wasn't ready. He's been great in Ligue 1, but Brest is, with all due respect, Ligue 1 and Brest is not playing at Inter and Serie A, and Inter that's looking to win a domestic treble. That's too much pressure for a young player. I wouldn't do that to them. It's not fair. I think it's mean to do that to young players. It's good to give them responsibility, but I mean, you don't build your team around a teenager unless he's Messi talent. You know what I mean? When Messi was 18 or Cristiano Ronaldo was 17, 18, it was different. Though they were ready. They were different. Ibrahimovic, same thing there when he was 17, 18 years old. But players like that don't grow on trees. Brozovic was not ready when he was that young. Kovacic was ready. He played in the Champions League as a 16-year-old. Like, but yeah, I know. But you know what I mean? Like, it's different players. Like Modric was not that player, but he became an absolute world-class player later because developed slowly became better and better, and then grew up. And
But
same with Brozovic.
but
Like
I
you can
think the
be.
question that I think they're asking, I don't think they're talking about, whether they should become,
Oh,
world
okay.
class players, but I mean just, integrating, like if we're like now moving forward, Nima, like we know that we're not in great financial conditions. Shouldn't it make more sense now to start moving towards what Milan did to sort of start using younger
Absolutely.
players?
Absolutely. You know where I stand on that. I thought
Yeah.
Tonali he was ready.
Yeah.
And I would
But
have
I mean, like, let's talk about like Agume or Satriano. Like, what about like these guys? What do you think?
Agume, I think he's ready. I think what I would do with Agume is I bring him to Inter next summer, in the summer, and I keep him in the squad for the season. And I'd use him and try to integrate him slowly, like Milan did with Tonali. See if is it worth
because that first season for Tonali wasn't an absolute success, but you that's
No.
what you expect from a young 20-year-old.
No, the training, the level of training is harder. It's more, everything around it is different. It's going from Brescia to Milan is a massive step. It was always going to take a year for him to get used to everything. And now look at him; he's leading Milan to a Scudetto. Like it was definitely worth it. Same thing with Agome. I mean, I'm okay with just letting him play, slowly getting him into the team.
Yeah, but at the same
But
time, Inzaghi, he needs to, like, because the Brozovic we saw on the Conte as well, that seems to be the one player that whether he's like, he's got, cholera, malaria, like the guy has to play. So, Agume there's no point keeping him there if you're going to play him 5 games in the season. Like he needs to get at least 20, 25 games, right? Like
that's
Tonali
not
last year got like 30 appearances.
Yeah, but exactly. But Milan had no choice.
Yeah.
Whilst Inter, that won't happen at Inter. He won't get 20. Like that's the thing. I think that if Agome, but I still think it would be worth to keep him until January at least. I really
Yeah.
do.
Hmm. Yeah, to see like whether he manages to break in or convince
Yeah,
himself.
and exactly, and how does he handle the training load, everything, being at a big club like Inter, the extra, how does he handle being all that extra pressure, all that extra spotlight, all that extra attention, everything around that. And once you've done that, and you bring him on and he starts performing, or if he does, and just even if it's 15-20 minutes.
Mhm.
No, but it's a difficult one. But I think with Satriano, I would let him spend another season out on loan because I think there is a player there.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think is just the Italian coach type of thing? Because it's a stereotype, but most of the time it's kind of true. Where like they do seem very averse to playing a lot of the youth talent. What do you think about that?
Not really. I mean, Italiano played young players at Spezia, De Zerbi and Dionisi. Look at the Sassuolo sides that everyone is
Yeah, but
raving
okay,
about.
let's go to like the top end then.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that Raspadori's, Scamacca, and Berardi are good enough to start for the top four teams before this season. Nobody, it would be crazy if you said that because they weren't. We know they
Yeah,
weren't. Like this is the thing, the Musiala comment, Jamal Musiala, Leroy Sané. That's because Germany and England and Spain are Gavi, Pedri. They're not your run of the mill young players.
yeah, these are elite talents.
These are elite talents. Italy isn't
Like
producing.
when you look at Inter's Primavera, I tune into some games. Like there's some decent talents there. Casadei is one that stands out, but
Yeah.
he's stat padding headers like because he's taller than everyone else there, and he's winning like
Well,
headers against prepubescent boys.
children.
So,
It's like
yeah,
it's his children. He's like Lukaku. That photo of Lukaku when he's like 12. Have you seen that when he's
yeah, yeah,
playing at like
yeah.
youth
When
team and
it's
he's
like
like
shaking hands.
three, he's like two like 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters taller than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like,
So
but I mean,
players that like develop physically at a younger age always manage
yeah,
to stand out. But then when you play with adults, that zeros that cancels out
evens
because
it
then
out. Yeah.
yeah.
So Italy aren't producing those kinds of players. They're producing good talents. I mean, and look at Barella was another player who wasn't exactly starting week in week out when he was a teenager, but he worked his way in, and then slowly the more he worked. And same with Locatelli. He was a flop at Milan. People forget that.
Mm.
And then he went to Sassuolo, where the pressure was less, and he was allowed to play and fail and play. And now look at him. It's at the big clubs you have to be ready now, and yes, in the Bundesliga, but Bayern Munich are so much better than everybody else in the Bundesliga that they can afford to have one player who's unproven. But then again, who is this unproven player? It's Nabri, it's Musiala, it's these are rather Leroy Sané or whoever it was back then. I mean, it's elite talents. I mean, Gavi, Pedri at Barcelona. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know
insane.
when we signed the Gume, he was supposed I think he is the captain of the under 18, 19
Yeah.
French team. But then you just look at it like the Monaco player, Tchouaméni. Like when you put him side to side, that guy is a beast already. Like
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Chouameni is ready to go into any team in the world
yeah.
today.
Whereas even when
Agumeni,
I watch Agume's like highlights, I haven't watched any Brest like full game, but I still watch him and I still feel the same things that I have like my reservations on him. Like he seems still a bit languid, a little bit
yeah.
lazy tracking back and things like that
He's a
sometimes.
little bit still, rough around the edges. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that he can't become a good player
No,
in the future.
exactly.
But he's like if you look at like your comparison with Chouameni is just, I mean,
Yeah, like
what are we talking? What are
yeah,
we
because
doing?
Nadim, I think he mentioned like I think they're the same. This part of the same crop. Him and Aguma and Chouameni are part of the same age group, and
Yeah.
Aguma was supposed to be the best
But
talent out of that
but
crop.
Chouameni exploded,
Yeah,
and Nagume hasn't.
yeah,
So it's not that they don't want to play young players, but the same thing with England. Phil Foden, like, I mean, he's young, but a magical player,
yeah.
one of the
And they
best in
used
his
to
league.
criticize Pep a lot for not playing him, but he slowly
Yeah,
tried to integrate him.
I mean, it's I get that, and but I do think also that the Allegri system of he's talking about fare gavetta in Serie C, that he talks about these they need to go through. They need to build themselves up in the Serie C and Serie B and all that. That's a pretty
That's a bit too
old
far.
fashioned way of looking at it. I personally would love to see the under 23 sides of all the big sides playing
Yeah.
Serie B or Serie C or like they do in Spain. I that's competitive football, not Serie C, but Serie B. Like allow them to play in the Serie B.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if they get relegated to Serie C, that's what it is. But at least have that
Yeah,
that B team. Like
yeah.
that's how it should be for sure. I
Agree.
agree.
I agree. I think
100%.
that's good for Italian football. But yeah, no, Italy are producing talented players, but just not. Federico Chiesa was a one-off. When he came through, he was one of those that are like, okay, this guy can play for anyone. But
Yeah,
you
like
don't.
him and Tonali was clear that these
Yeah,
two
yeah,
were like the
they're
best
destined.
talents that
Yeah,
Italy have at the
as the
moment.
Italians say, predestinati. I mean, you could say,
Yeah.
you could tell with both of them, they were like, this is something else. This is something else.
Yeah.
But no, it's same with Barella as well. I mean, when he exploded onto the scene, you're like, okay, this is something else.
Yeah.
But it's same, but again, it's I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater here a little bit. I don't want to be too reactionary. I understand that people are frustrated, but you have to understand that this is a summer where a lot of things are going to change at Inter. Vecino, Vidal, Kolarov are leaving. De Vrij is probably leaving as well. Onana's coming in. You're going to have a change of shift in guard. There's a lot of things happening. I think Alexis Sanchez will probably leave as well. I mean, there's so many things happening.
Probably
So
the biggest change of the squad that's going to happen in a long
in a
time, isn't
very,
it?
very long time. And it's important they get it right. So for me, Bremer is the most important one. They've already got the goalkeeper coming in, which I'm really happy about. He's quick, good with his feet. So you need to get Bremer. And when you get him, okay, so you get Ranocchia and D'Ambrosio for another year. Fair enough. You got Di Marco there. That's your back line sorted. You got Darmian, Dumfries, Gosens, Perisic. If Perisic extends, great. That's sorted out as well. But then you have the midfield and the attack that needs to be fixed. And those are important positions.
Yeah, definitely. We got Gigi Steve in the house as well. My boy Beppe. I was supposed to do a preview with Beppe, but it didn't end up happening because he made me second guess myself. He's very superstitious, and last time I went on his channel, that's when we beat Juve when the 2-0 win, and he says he doesn't want to come back on my channel, or he doesn't want to do a preview since then, unless it's on my channel. But now I'm starting to believe in his woo-woo as well.
You lot burning cauldrons and I don't know exactly. You're all the scaramanzia.
Yeah,
right.
But anyway, let's finish off on a prediction. We went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I know you hate it, Nima. I know you hate it, but let's see what the boys are saying in here. Mattia is saying 1-0 Juventus. He's one of the negative boys usually in here, so that's in line with his usual negativity. Nicola says 2-0.
If that, I hope Nicola's right, but I don't see it, my friend. I don't see that. Inter will never ever keep a clean sheet away against Juve. It's just not allowed. So,
oh wow, Ahmad 3-1. Oh, Jesus, I mean, I think Ahmad said that he's gonna get a Lautaro. He's gonna get a bull tattoo if Lautaro scores a hat trick or something. I saw something at the beginning of the street.
Oh dear. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Hakan won Best Turkish Player of 2021. So yeah, Milanisti cheers.
No, that's I don't know. I just can't. Yeah, I'm with Matteo here. I can't go past 1-1.
That's what I'm seeing, honestly. As I said at the beginning,
Abdi, I'm with Abdi. If Inter win, it's going to be 2-1. Like that's what I think. I think if Inter score the first goal, I think that opening goal will be a little bit. If Inter get the first goal, they can win it for sure. But if they don't, and Juve score first, then at best a 1-1. From your mouth to your ears. From your mouth to God's ears, Abdi. From your mouth to God's ears.
Eduardo says usually starts the live stream down, but by the end of it now he's saying we're going to win 2-0.
Okay, I hope you're right.
D'Ambrosio's on there. He could sneak one of those.
At the far side, at the far post.
Yeah. But I'm gonna. Wow, Denzel Dumfries says that's definitely I don't know, reverse jinx. So I don't know what he's trying to do there. I'm gonna go for 1-1, Nima. I think it's gonna be 2 set piece goals, to be honest, 2 like scruffy set piece goals. Probably like Ligt or Chiellini on their side, and then
Yeah.
for us it'll be like Skriniar or D'Ambrosio for me.
Yeah, something like that. No, but I mean, if Inter get the first goal, if they get the opening goal and early on, then I think it's one of those days where Juve will have to open up, and that'll give Inter lots of space to attack. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. I feel it's going to be really close.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And quickly, Nima, a couple of people asked, and I wanted to leave it to right till the end. I know you are, big Iran fan, and of course
I'm thrilled. This is
yeah.
exactly the group I wanted. I was hoping for Cameroon as well. Yesterday I was tweeting about it. I wanted England.
Yeah, you almost got it spot on. I saw your prediction.
I want England. I was afraid of France, Germany, and Canada. That's like hell. But luckily, I didn't. That didn't happen, and they got the USA and England. And then I mean, as for the rest, look, if you're playing England and you're guaranteed either Wales or Scotland, that's a good place to be. Or Ukraine. We'll have to wait and see. I think it doesn't matter whoever it is. But England and US, it's a good group. It's going to be in Qatar. There's going to be lots of Iranians there, and I mean lots. It's going to be like a home game, pretty much for Iran every time they play. And it's no, I mean, look, let's not beat around the bush. Everyone is going to watch USA v Iran. It's very politically charged, and it's going to be very interesting. No, I think I think Iran have a good chance of going through. I really do. I think this is finally, they can't complain that they don't have a good draw this time, because the last couple of times, I mean, it was Argentina and Bosnia with peak Pjanic and Dzeko. Then after that, it was Portugal and Spain, the reigning European champions and the reigning world. I mean, it was just it was annoying.
Yeah.
Yes, Serbia keep getting Brazil, and so it's not just in my head that it's Brazil and Switzerland time and time again. It's like you already knew that was going to be that group. But yeah, I think Serbia, watch out for Serbia. I mean, Jovic, Vlahovic. No, I like Serbia. I do. However, I do think that the Canada is going to
the USA versus England winner gets the real cuisine.
Oh dear. No, I think Canada's going to shock people.
I think I'm going to support. They're going to be like my team now that Italy are
I
out.
really like Canada. I've watched them play 70% of the games, and they're a difficult side to play. They play some really very modern football, very high pressing, high intensity. And if you can do that in snow and -10, I think they can do that in somewhat warmer conditions in Qatar. No, they I mean, the best left back in the world. That's what he is. Alphonso Davies is the best left back in the world. I think when he's fit, no one comes close to him. He's just unstoppable. He's like the perfect fullback. Jonathan David, I think he's a brilliant player. No, Canada's going to be a handful for teams. I think a lot of people are underestimating them, and I think they're going to go through.
Yeah, no, I'm representing. I think I'm going to go for Canada. Brampton, massive. That's where all the Indian people live in Canada, just outside Toronto. So that's where my auntie lives. No, it's true. It's like a massive area.
Yeah, it's like Woodbridge with all the Italians in Toronto.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, Nima, thank you very much for coming on, man.
My
anything
pleasure.
you want to plug before you go?
No, Studio Inter. We come out on the we're on all where podcasts are, Studio Inter, and then the Italian Football Podcast on patreon.com/theIFP, where we do interviews and reviews and all that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, make sure you check them out. I'm a Patreon for the Italian Football Podcast, and I recommend it. Thank you, everyone that's joined in. It was very nice, enjoyable chat.
Actually, about youth, we had it's actually free because the first episode of every month is free, but our latest episode, which we published today, was with two English youth team coaches of Italian descent. Who work for English clubs, about the youth crisis that we actually spoke about. So definitely check that out, because it's on where it's the free episode of the month, because the first one is free. But yeah, check that out. It's a really interesting discussion, a panel discussion that my colleague Carlo Garganese hosts. So definitely check it out. Yeah, Forza Inter.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you guys are leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, especially if you're new to the channel. And obviously I'll see you guys on Sunday night, hopefully for a positive match reaction. Ciao ragazzi, always Forza Inter.